Alright, this is another video for the Black Nationalist channel. So I just want to jump right into it because I do know that there are videos circulating around that is talking about Gary Martin, that the shooting that took place in Aurora, Illinois, the very state that I live in. And it's also, keep in mind, one of the sundown towns as well. So we all know that this shooting took place yesterday afternoon. However, I just want to talk about how the media is portraying him. Typical fashion. Every time when there is some type of killing or a shooting that a black person would end up doing, they immediately go for the criminal record. Sure enough, this is one of the Chicago Tribune's article, and in here they brought out his mugshot. As you can see, it was only a matter of time that we would see this. It was only a matter of time. So instead of trying to say like they would any other white shooter, and we all know this, when it comes with a white shooter, they will pull out the old high school picture of him so that all white people can start saying, oh, something bad must have happened in his life that drove him to do that, or maybe he's suffering from some form of mental illness, like all white people only have mental illness, and by that not being checked, it would drive them to start shooting, which we all know is a bold-faced lie. But in particular with this gentleman here, unfortunately, he started shooting. He just went on a rampage. Well, I wouldn't say a rampage. It looked like he was probably fed up. Now, this is the reason why I said Aurora is a sundown town. It is. It most truly is. It's around Oak Brook. It is around Bolingbrook. If you're really not familiar with the area, these places is predominantly white. Now, the only reason why when Caprini Green's, one of the projects that was, I want to say like on the north side of Chicago, once they tore that down, I want to, probably about 10 years ago or probably more, they moved a lot of them out in the suburbs. And so the thing is that they had it controlled as to who can go out there in the suburbs. So I just wanted to give a little bit of backdrop on that. So when you see the little black people that's in the interviews, and I just got finished watching Nicole's her video, and one of the little light-skinned girls, she said that, oh, he was creepy, and then you have some of the neighbors that just like, they look like, you know, if you would, from the projects. I'm not gonna lie, that's exactly how they look. And the reason why is because they moved a lot of those who dwelled in the projects out to the suburbs. Now back to this individual, Mr. Martin. In the Chicago Tribune, it says that Martin has 6 prior arrests in Aurora, most involving traffic stops and domestic violence. Now, the traffic stops, again, you can drive the speed limit, but if you go just one little notch over the speed limit, I kid you not, those Aurora police, they will wave their little siren at you and tell you to pull over. I kid you not. It happened to me one time. That's why I refuse to go out there. My cousin and her husband, they used to live out there, but no longer, thankfully, because it's extremely prejudiced over there in that area. Now, back to the article, it says he also had a felony conviction for aggravated assault in Mississippi in 1995, authorities said. His last known arrest was in 2017 in Oswego, where he was charged with disorderly conduct and criminal damage to property. Probably got a little intoxicated or something to that effect. His most recent arrest in Aurora was in 2008 for violating an order of protection. Now, here's the kicker. Despite his record, Martin was issued an Illinois firearm owner's identification card in January 2014, and 2 months later purchased a Smith & Wesson .40 caliber handgun from an Aurora dealer. He applied for a concealed carry permit shortly after purchasing the gun, according to police. Now, the last time I checked, when you do these so-called backgrounds, they look for stuff like this. If you have any record that is involved with some type of assault or anything to that nature, because they're going to mark you as, okay, here's a problem right here. Here's someone that could potentially be a detriment to society. But yet, we all know Illinois is supposed to have the strictest gun laws. It's a laugh. But one thing that I do want to say about him, when black people does these type of shootings, they have a target, and obviously he had a target. The individuals, one of them was, I forgot the name. He was supposed to be some white Hispanic who was supposed to fire him with the other white people. Now, Aurora, yes, you're going to have the vast majority of Caucasians that is working in that area. And the minute, especially if you're a black man or a black woman, the minute that you screw up, they let you go. So to see that this guy was able to work there for 15 years, he obviously had to put up with a lot of mess. And I'm sure we all know about the two black gentlemen that was suing GM, I believe, because they no longer got tired of the racism that they was facing, and they had a noose in there as well to demonstrate their hatred towards those two gentlemen. So who is to say that Mr. Martin did not go through this? But the thing was with him, he reached a breaking point and he snapped. You see, that is the difference when it comes to white people and black people. We can try our best to suppress the oppression that we go through, the racism that we go through on our jobs. And once we break under that, because no one is immune to that. No one is immune to reaching a boiling point. We will snap. But we will target the individuals that caused us the problem. Caucasians, they don't think like that. They just want to kill, and they don't care who they hurt while they're killing. But they always, it never fails, they will protect each other from the crimes that they have committed. They will know that they will list at the bottom of the page of an article their priors. But with Mr. Martin, they just had it in the first few articles. The first few paragraphs of this particular article. So they didn't waste any time in making sure that his criminal past came up. But like I said, the vast majority of his priors is due to traffic stops and domestic violence. Now, I'm not going to go too much into domestic violence because I'm not going to lie. Some woman can push a man and he pushed back and she calls the police and he's off to jail. And they will call that a domestic violence. So I'm not going to go into that realm because if I was to go there, I would have to do another video. You see, when you are in a particular environment, yes, you want to be careful and make sure that you don't step on any toes because you know that you are a prime target. But you always have to be careful and be mindful because any moment that you trip up, you're out the door. Now, it has been said that this gentleman was suffering from mental illness. This is a problem that goes on in the black community, especially for our black men. Our black man is constantly under all type of stress every single day. The minute that he wakes up, the minute that he puts on his clothes, he has to worry about, am I going to get stopped by a police officer from here to the stop sign that's up the street? When he goes to a gas station, who is someone going to look at him and stare at him and say, oh, here's one of these thugs who could rob me, even though he is dressed in a professional attire? When he gets to work, he has to make sure that if he says hello, that he will say hello in such a way that it does not come off as some sort of sexual harassment between men or women. It doesn't matter these days. The simple fact that you're a black man and that you coming into work is a problem. This society would prefer to see a black man out here on the streets making money illegally so that he could go right ahead and either put bullets in him or put him in jail. That is exactly how society wants to view our black men. Now, knowing that Mr. Martin was able to stay on this job for 15 years is to be greatly commended. However, he went through a lot, obviously. He had a mental break. This is why I encourage for any black man or woman, if you have some type of mental illness, please go and seek professional help. Do not give these people the power over you to control your anger. To illustrate that, just imagine that you turn on the fire on your stove. Of course, you cannot turn on the fire, but you can control your temper. Make sure that that temperament does not go up or that it just dies out. Don't give these people that power. You stay in control of it. I really feel very bad about this situation, but it's kind of hard to feel sorry for police officers, because police officers, they don't have any remorse when it comes to killing a black man or a black boy or a black girl or a black woman. They just don't care. Police officers don't care about black people, but black men in particular, they extremely hate. So it's kind of hard for me to feel somewhat sorry that they got wounded or some who have lost their life. It really is. Because here is a man who obviously took on so much emotional abuse. Here is a man who is living in an area that is you have to be cautious if you're a black individual. You have to be very, very cautious. But seeing that most of his prior arrests in Aurora, it involved traffic stops. Now, I just want to touch on one of the little interview. She was a light-skinned, heavy chick. And she said that he didn't have anything. He looked like he didn't have much. Why is it that black people always worry about what somebody have? Do you not know that most of the people who have money are the ones that looks broke? The ones who has all the flashiness and so forth, they're usually the ones that's broke. Because see, black people, it's like broke people are trying to impress another broke person. I don't get that concept. So for her to sit up to say that and to say that he was creepy, and the white reporter, she was like, oh, and everyone's saying that he was creepy. It's like, really? Like, really? But yet when you have the little white boy that shot up in Florida, of course, Florida of all places, when they was playing video games, everyone was like, oh, he had to go through this and he had to go through that. The white guy in Texas who was planting bombs in predominantly black and Latino area, but it did affected black families. They had his young picture with him smiling and so forth, instead of actually showing a picture of him looking like he really hated his life, and he sat in front of a video game every day with blonde hair, with a ragged beard and so forth. It never freaking fails. It never fails. That's why I said it was only a matter of time that we would see Mr. Martin mugshots, and that they would bring everything up so that they can make sure that those who are looking at him can already say, oh, he's just another problem child. He's just another, another thug. He was just another thug that's, deserved not to live. That's all that's going on right now. That is it. But here in the article, the same one, the Chicago Tribune, it says that his family told reporters Martin was stressed recently, but authorities could not say why he was being fired after working at the warehouse for 15 years. That was just one of many questions that remained Saturday. Okay. So he was stressed, probably dealing with the racism from all boards, probably dealing with the jest, dealing with the racial slurs. You never know. You never know. And yet these reporters, they are not taking the time to try to go figure out what was being done, what was said, why did they make him work a full day, only to say, hey, we're about to let you go. They're not going to do that, because in their mind, it's like, you know what, we don't care and value your life anyway, so we're just going to go about our day. And then we're going to pick and choose whom we want in that area that's going to support our prejudice, our bigotry. That's what we're going to do. You mean to tell me that they could not find anyone there that said something positive about them? No. They had to make sure that they picked at least 2 or 3 individuals that said something that was just out of the ordinary. If you said that you hardly seen him, how is it that you could say he was creepy? If you said that when you did see him, he was working on his car, how did you formulate the thought that, oh, he's creepy? Like, what is wrong with you? Sometimes we can just destroy each other's character without having a Caucasian to do so. This is a major problem that we have as a group. But again, that's something else for another video, which I will be talking about as well. But all I have to say about Gary Martin is that he is, the stress that he was under, the pain that he was under, is no more. It's no more. Sometimes death is the final answer. Maybe, who is to say that he did not reach out to his family and they never reached out to him? We don't know. We don't know. So that's why I encourage anyone that you know in your family, if they come to you and they are stressed, please take the time to listen to them. If you know of anyone that's in your family that is suffering from mental illness, may it be depression, may it be bipolar, may it be a mild split personality disorder, anything, take the time, talk to them, because do realize that severe depression, that's something you cannot control. And then when you go to a job that you hate, and then you have to deal with people who hate you, who wants to pick on you, who wants to give you all type of problems because they don't like you. And also on top of that, you have the complexion that they hate. All that is stressful. And especially as a black man. Black men, they don't have the support system to be able to say what they are thinking. Say how they feel without someone taunting them and saying, oh, suck it up. No, when you're depressed, you can't suck that up. Being depressed is not like flickering on the light in your house. No, it comes, and when it comes, it stays, and you cannot shake it. This is why people need to stop saying, oh, shake it off, or it will go away, or do stuff like that. No, it's not like that. So if you know of anyone that is going through this ordeal, if you know of anyone that is suffering silently, be that listening ear. Don't talk. Just let them know, I am here. I am here to listen. And maybe that is all Gary Martin needed. Maybe that was what he needed. And unfortunately, he did not get that support in time. Because the only thing that he could think about was the individuals that hurted him, the individuals that probably used him, abused him mentally, and the only way that he knew to end it was to silence their mouth forever and to silence his mouth forever. This is all that I will be speaking on about it, but this is really making me think upon something to talk about tomorrow, about the mental illness that goes on in the black community that we are afraid to address. And how it affect all of us and what we do as far as our functionality. So I do hope that everyone likes this and enjoy it, and enjoy the rest of your evening.